Let's talk about the new signing first of all, shall we?
Yeah.
Kevin Castro. What do you like about him?
Yeah, I think that he's got real power and the ability to manipulate the ball in like the tight positions. Um, I think he's a creative guy. Wants to try to make an assist or try to be around the box to score. But of course, we need to get him at the right time on the pitch and allow him to show us really what he's all about.
I guess the amount of goals you've scored lately might lead people to ask whether you really need another one. So why have you decided to move now to bring him
Yeah,
in?
that's fair. I think that the maybe to take your eye off the ball in the time when it seems the most obvious to relax a little bit is a real mistake. And I think that whilst we are in a good position in terms of attacking threat, if one player or two players become unavailable, at the moment we're touch wood we're in a fairly good position, but if you lose a player or two, then suddenly the starting lineup could look very very different. So to try to bolster the squad. And we've said all along we want to try to bring the guys in that we really really feel like they're going to suit what we're doing, and they're going to be able to come in and be able to replicate what somebody else is already doing. That's the key thing, and I think that we've tried to really narrow down the search, and we believe that Kevin is that guy.
Knots have under the new owners never, I would say, heavily relied on loan players. So it does make me wonder: is this a player that you're thinking potentially to bring in sort of longer term beyond January to maybe make permanent at some point, or is it literally just a couple of months thing?
I think that the problem with that is that the club that he belongs to are going to have a huge say in what happens with the boy's future. But if we like what we see and both parties are very happy, of course we would try to make a case to extend. Maybe it's impossible because he does really well, for example, and then they say, look, we need to have the player back with us because he's going to be a part of what we're doing. There's a lot of different scenarios that can happen, but I'm sure that we're going to be, if we're in a position where we want to try to extend it, we're going to try to make the very best possible case why definitely the best place for his future.
As I say, you have been scoring plenty of goals. 10 in the last three. Nine in those two away games. How happy have you been with pretty early on in your tenure to be scoring that number of goals? And even the one where you scored one against Solihull, you dominated the game and had other chances. So I just wonder how pleased you are with that.
Yeah, I'm pleased with that, and I think that the most important thing with that is that it's a byproduct of how the guys play. To concentrate, to keep trying to build up in the right way, to go to the box with good quality. The build up's not breaking down too many times, and when the ball goes out of play a lot, it can really break the flow and slow things down. But the guys are not making as many mistakes as we saw maybe at the beginning with the build up. They're cleaner, they're crisper, they get to the final third. But then also the other thing that we have to really respect all the players is because they really are able to win the ball back very very quickly, and that enables them to go and build up and move again, and to go and attack the box again. And of course, the guys at the very top of the pitch are getting plaudits for putting the ball in the back of the net. But honestly, the work that they do to help the team to build up by the discipline they show in their positions and making movements that maybe we don't see as much because we focus on the ball, but they're creating space for their teammates, and then their reaction to recover the ball and the way that they work back towards our own goal is really the most important thing. And they're doing that and getting the rewards for it, which is great, because sometimes they do all this work and if they don't get chances and they don't score, you're having to try and convince them to keep working. But it's a great situation to be in when they work so hard for the team, but then they get their reward.
When you've had a start like this and unbeaten, of course, but then also when you've been scoring a load of goals, do you think that might lead other teams when they come up against you to start doing very different things, and sort of making it more difficult? I suppose the bounty.
Yeah, I think that it's a natural thing that if we play well, coaches will challenge themselves and their team to find a way to stop us. If we're showing that we're dominating games, they'll try to knock us out of our flow and find ways to hurt us as well, of course, and that's football. And we practice and change. We try to anticipate what the opposition may do, and try to find out what is the best solution for us if they do that. Of course, too much like that is then taken away from what you do in Plan A. So we try to during the week we try to spread out, the work so that we can practice different formations, different players doing different things, to try to anticipate any changes from our opponents.
The game at the weekend, of course, was called off. Perhaps no great surprise was it when the announcement was made on Friday morning that football was all being postponed over the weekend.
No surprise, and I think that that every weekend there are thousands and probably tens of thousands of people involved in travelling up and down to play games and to watch games, and all of the staffing that needs to be involved in that, the huge police presence across the board at all the different levels is enormous. I know that from previously working in community football, where we worked in a project with the police and the Premier League together, and the numbers of staffing that were involved in football matches is incredible. So I think that it's a huge it's a huge drain on resources when football matches take place on the weekend, and that's brilliant. That's by and large that is exactly how it should be. But of course, with such a huge momentous occasion, I think it was sensible that we make sure that we're applying all the resources in the country correctly.
There were other sports that went ahead, of course, and cricket at the Oval showed how well those supporters could respectfully pay tribute. Sport went on in rugby, ice hockey locally went ahead as well, and people in those sports have spoken about the great coming together and the brilliant way that those sports could pay tribute. Has football missed a trick?
No, I think that football is just so huge that there are just so many more people. It's hard to calculate the difference, between football and probably all the other sports combined. Football will take up a huge amount of people's time, and there'll be more events everywhere and so on. I think that what we will do though is we'll get our chance to show how football fans can really pull together. I've got no doubt about that. I know for sure the fans here will, because I can feel it when I just stand, in front of them. You can just feel it. They will know how to respect the monarchy, and they'll I'm sure there'll be a perfect opportunity to do that. And us as players and staff, we want to be able to be involved in that as well.
Because often you increasingly we've seen minutes applause around football grounds for various different reasons. But when you get a minute's silence in a football ground, it's really powerful, isn't it?
It really is. It's a strange feeling because you never ever see that environment in that way, motionless and silent. You never see that unless those incredible few times that you have where that people are observing a minute or 2 minute silence, and there is a feeling that we're all doing this together, and whether we support one team or the other, we work for one team or the other, there is definitely a unity when you make a minute silence. And again, if that's the protocol here, it will be observed impeccably, and everyone will enjoy taking part in showing their respect.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Ollie, anything?
Yeah, just a couple of bits. Obviously, Frank Vincent on loan at Aldershot. Have you managed to speak to him during his time there? You managed to see how he's going on there?
Yeah, we had some dialogue between myself and Vinny, and Vinny's really enjoyed being out there on the pitch. I've managed to watch every single action that he's been involved. I haven't watched every single game because I just don't have the time to sit and watch. I would like to, but I watch all the actions, every single action he is involved in since he has been there. And of course, as you can imagine, watching Vinny is not difficult. It's enjoyable because you see the energy and the enthusiasm and some real good moments as well. So yeah, I managed to be able to watch him and communicate with him. He's really an incredible guy. He's brilliant to work with. So that's been a good experience, I think, for him to be out on the pitch and release some of the energy that he has cooped up there.
At Dagenham, Aaron the man was forced off with an injury. Is that just precautionary, or was that something a little bit more serious?
No. Aaron was feeling the just fatigue. I think these explosive actions over and over again are very difficult, and we're trying to get Aaron up to that level where he can consistently produce for 90 minutes. You look at Adam Chickson on the other side, and Chicks is like a machine. He's physically is a machine and just keeps going and going and going. And Aaron is very, very explosive, very powerful, and that really is hard to keep reproducing. But he needs to push and get to that level. But no, he's fine. He's all good. And
then Joel Taylor, his recovery, how's that going along?
Yeah, progressing well, how we expect really. Joel is doing everything correct. So we're getting closer. We're not quite at a point yet where he can be back with the squad training, but he's doing everything else that he needs to do, and everything is coming along in the correct way.
And then obviously with the signing announced today, is there any more business that you plan on doing in the lead up to the busy Christmas period?
Yeah, again, we are looking at players all the time. And some of those players eventually they become not an option because something changed, or they went somewhere else, or the club that they belong to has changed the strategy for that player. So it's a constant, it's always a moving jigsaw. So we are looking at players, and I'm sure that if we feel like it's exactly the right thing that we need to do, we will be doing that. And as you say, the schedule now is going to get more challenging because of the Bromley game as well.